structure of media industries in Latin America has been sort of concentrated for a long time, but particularly in the last decades, that because of privatization and liberalization of media markets, there have been increased process of a few large companies having control or power over a large number of interests in each country. So that is a process that sort of began, I would say, in the 80s, and now we're sort of seeing the consequences. What's going on right now, I think, in many countries, is a process of opening up markets for a variety of reasons. Media markets, including television, radio, and newspaper markets. And there is also the question of digital television and telephony. So this is a time in Latin America, I would say, of a lot of activity around policy changes driven by a number of interests, from sort of some companies that feel that they are left out of very profitable media markets, to citizens interested in changing the rules of engagement and believing that it's necessary for the state to curb the power of media companies. So it's a very dynamic, very fluid situation right now. Traditional media is still important in Latin America for a number of reasons. One reason is that still in many countries it's not the majority of people who have access to digital platforms. So there is huge variations in Latin America in terms of the digital divide. In some countries, like in Argentina, for example, in Colombia, there are sort of high rates of penetration of digital technologies. In other countries, Guatemala is the one that comes to mind, there is still sort of a significant digital divide. So that's one reason. The other reason is that still the popularity of radio and television is significantly high in spite of growing use of mobile technologies or digital platforms. I don't see this as a process of either or, but basically it's a hybridization or a mixing of different technologies. That's another reason. And the third reason is there are some studies suggesting that much of the conversation that happens in the social media, in some ways, the traditional media have an important place. That basically is not that the agenda of the social media is set by the traditional media, but that there is still an important sort of influence in determining what people talk about. There are sort of studies trying to examine this question, but the point is that it's still too early to discount the importance of the traditional media in terms of influencing public opinion, attitudes, or what the conversation is across social media.